Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick at the 2025 NADA show. I'm laughing because of this guy next to me. He's a good friend of ours, Todd Katcher, managing partner at Digital Dealer Systems. If you haven't been, by the way, to his booth, you have to get over there right now. I'm a huge proponent and a huge fan of what they offer to dealers. So, we recently discussed the rebrand of Pulse. Yes. Let's talk about that. But first, welcome to the show, and how's the show going?
Oh, it's been a blast. I love coming to these shows and hearing from dealers directly.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than getting the feedback from dealers when creating products like we do.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, our first customer was a dealer who came to us and said, hey, I need this.
Right.
And then everybody else since then have been like, hey, this is what we need for our dealership. So we're continually advancing our products. So this show, NADA, is paramount to our future growth. We learn so much from our dealers and speaking to them.
That's great.
It's really a great experience for us.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about, last time that we did have a discussion about this, we were talking about the rebrand of Pulse, which is a leaderboard system for fixed ops, sales, BDC departments. For those that might not be as familiar, talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's a great tool. So most dealers today, as we're talking to dealers today at the show, most dealers are still using dry erase boards.
I know.
Progressive dealers today use things like Google Sheets or something like that get updated every couple weeks. It's just
totally crazy.
It's a manual system no matter what they do it, whether and it's really based on value, right? So I had a dealer who said, well, I could do it for free on my own with a dry erase board. And I said, are you still penciling deals too? The idea that they're still, when CDK has some technology issues, did you enjoy doing everything manually then? The idea is that, doing things automatically have a lot of value, not only for the store, but also for your staff to motivate them. So a lot of these tools that dealerships have in the marketplace are meant for those senior management people. And they're really great tools.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is really motivate the frontline people, your staff that is actually talking to customers, selling cars, servicing, wrenching, and that really boosts all profits for the stores. Those are the people that are actually selling.
Yeah.
So if you want to get tools for management, great. We're a tool for your staff and for your actual staff and fixed, your BDC, as well as your sales staff, and then also for their leaders, their GSMs, their BDC directors, and their fixed ops managers. The other people have their tools as well, but we provide a tool, and it's priced right for what they're dealing with, because we're not overpricing them and just selling more than what we have. We're a motivational tool for the people that are frontline workers, if you will, in the dealership, and that's really where we're sticking.
Which is why I'm a fan of it, because I come from the old school when they were putting the X's and the information right on the window sometimes of the sales the sales room, or like you said, the whiteboards or what have you, which is that's crazy. We're here in 2025, right? And when you walk into a dealership, you want that experience to be world-class for those customers that come in, right? And it's also got to be a world-class experience for the employees that work there, right?
Yeah, and we actually had a dealer today who was talking about staff retention.
Yeah.
And how many dealers actually invest in their staff?
Yeah.
And so by putting up a digital board, one guy was telling me that he was a customer. He was recruiting somebody from another store. He came in and go, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And they use it for their reports. They use it for their motivation. And they also use it for their staff meetings.
Right.
They're like, hey, when you work here, you get this, you get a mobile app. You know exactly where you are all the time. You know when deals close. You know all this type of stuff. So by just being part of that system and that ecosystem, we really have a lot of different levels of benefits for the store.
Yeah. In fact, let's drill down on that. Talk to me about how the day-to-day operations work. How are dealers using it in real?
Yeah, so our system has three different components to it. So we have the TVs that are staff facing, so it motivates them. And sales, you think about it in like replacing a dry erase board with just the reports that they want to show there, because customers may see that as well. And then tracking units, tracking goals, those types of things, KPIs. And then you have the other component is going to be the desktop component. And the desktop is going to be where they could dig a little bit deeper into the reports, go into that, look at the performance of their staff month over month, year over year, just with a couple of clicks. We're trying to make really simple reports. They could even print reports in our system, because customers have asked for that additional feature to be able to print reports from our system, because they still like printed reports, but they don't need to make reports. So we have some predefined reports that are built into the system, really easy to use. And then the mobile aspect has been a significant increase. We revamped that earlier, towards the end of last year, and now all of our customers get it. So it was a premium service before, and now everyone gets the mobile access as well. So they know where they stand at any time. They know when their deals are closed. They know when they're financed. They know when they're delivered. They get an alert whenever somebody in the dealership sells a vehicle to kind of motivate them a little bit more.
Of course. If I'm the top guy that month and I'm running, ahead of the others, and I'm thinking, okay, it's the 29th of the month, or maybe it's the last day of the month, and I want to know if somebody's going to come up and beat me, right?
Yeah, and you also want to look at your goals. So it's updated every 15 minutes directly from the DMS.
Cool.
So if you have goals and you're at 90% of your goal, or you're $1,000 away from your gross goal, whatever that may be, or you need to do something, and you're looking at that, and you're looking at, we've had I talked to a dealer group the other day that has our system, and whenever they do a deal, it updates every 15 minutes.
Right.
So they gather around our sales board to see their name, because we have a feature, it's called a splash screen, that splashes across the whole screen and says, congratulations for selling this vehicle. It's customized. Right. So it has their picture on it, and then it shows up, and they see if they move up. So dealerships who are using dry erase boards in these manual systems, whenever they have a change of who's on top, they don't change it. It just stays the same.
That's great.
As it was at the beginning of the month. Yeah. And normally whoever was the top person last month is the top person this month, but they might not be the top salesperson or the top person based on that KPI. Yeah.
Right.
So with our system, whenever they close a deal, they are saying that they all gather around and see if it's going to change the numbers on the board.
That's great.
And so we have lots of different reports in our system. And now we recently revamped our system just last week, since we met last time. Yeah. So we have 30 different reports. Okay. Now the ranking is based on the report. Okay. So if it's a gross report and you're top in gross, now you're going to be top in that one. That's so not just based on units, each individual report. So if it's dollar per RO, you're ranked based on dollar per RO. If it's on appointments, then it's based on appointments. So you could be ranked differently on different reports. Because the KPI is different and the measurable is different.
And as a dealer principal, I'm also able to have these boards in my office.
Yeah,
so I'm looking at whether it be one dealership or 10 dealerships, I could have all of that information in real time being fed to me.
Yeah, we have a couple different offers for that. So you could either pick and choose the reports you want from each store, or we have a report that's an enterprise level report that would allow you to go in and say store 1 versus store 2 versus store 3 in aggregate, and then you know how your whole team is doing.
That's fantastic. So I mean, as you know, I'm in love with the systems that you sell to dealers, and by putting my dealer hat on, this kind of a deal seems like an absolute no-brainer. I mean, I know that dealers still have to learn about it or what have you, but for the dealers that are listening, take a look at what you're currently using. It's 2025, guys. Come on, you got to modernize your dealership. Your people want it. Your managers want it. You need it in your office, and your customers want it. I mean, you don't want to walk into a dealership and see some kind of motivator board that's been done by some kind of a marker, or maybe it's X's on a window or something like that. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, dealers are an interesting bunch, right? Yeah. I mean, sometimes they'll spend so much money in certain areas, and you question, why are you spending this money here?
That's right.
And then it's like, what is it? Jump over a dime to pick up a penny.
That's right.
Something like that. So yeah, I mean, when someone goes ahead and looks at our system and says, yeah, I could do that for free. Yeah. Or they, what are you going to do? They just don't see value in it. Sure. And so dealers often, we call themselves modern dealers, and then they hesitate to do such things as invest in modern dealerships. Just because they build a brand new building that the manufacturer tells them what to put in it, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to put modern technology inside the building.
Very good point.
So we're a very low cost product with a high return. I mean, if you look at the average dollar per RO on the fixed op side, depending on the brand, anywhere between $200 to $300 a month. Our system is $500 a month. So if they do 1,000 ROs over the course of a month, if you get 2 more ROs out of it, you paid for it.
Exactly.
And it's going to do much more than that.
It's going to do way more than that. And the same thing with gross profit on the front end.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? These are deals that, this is a situation where every salesperson needs to know where they stand and also where the dealership stands.
Exactly.
With regard to all the other people, which is the greatest motivator out there. You know what I mean? So talk to me for a second about the CRM and the advanced tools like Reverse Risk and Stone Eagle and Accessa.
Yeah, so those are great programs, and those are for upper level management. Okay. So if you're running multiple stores, or you're an owner, an absentee owner, and you want to know how your stores are actually performing, those are great tools. I have no problem with those tools whatsoever. But they're going to look at, like any CRM or those types of aggressive reporting tools. They're going to go ahead and look at the analytics of what has been done in the dealership.
Right.
So as soon as you print a report, the report's past tense.
That's right. That's right.
And those reporting tools are so elaborate. They're very difficult for an entry-level salesperson to use.
Yeah.
So with our system, we're actually motivating those frontline people. right? We're motivating the salespeople. Now, after the sales work is done, then you could use those other tools to analyze it. We're not analyzing, we're motivating. Our board is a motivator board, and their tools are analytical boards. And that's the difference. Now, we do have analytical components to our system, but we're not digging as deep as those tools are, because that's not what we're trying to accomplish. We're not a consulting company. We're not trying to go ahead and tell them the nitty gritty. But we've had some dealers who have moved from those systems to ours because they're not using all the reports. And we recently just added, prior to NADA, we added 2 things that are new. One is our coaching aspect. So we have on our sales board, and we're coming up with for it on Fix as well, is the ability to put coaching into our system. So we could go ahead and say, hey, when was it? We have goals in it, but normally when you rank by goal, you're saying how close someone is to the goal. What we want to do from coaching is the opposite. Who's furthest away from their goal, and how can we coach them up? So we have units, and we have gross, and who's the furthest away. Then we also consider, when was the last time you sold a car? Now, it shows up on the board if you haven't sold a car in 3, 5, 7 days, and that's customizable. So if it's a red flag for a manager, which it should be, if somebody hasn't sold a deal, if they normally sell 30 cars a month, and that's that, 1 a day or 2 a day, whatever that is, a couple a week, whatever that number is, we want to go ahead and alert a staff member when you're not selling based on your normal trends.
That's right. That's phenomenal. Is these boards should also be in the conference room? So when you've got your training taking place, or you've got your meetings in the mornings or what have you, this is the first thing you should go over. I mean, it's a lot of dealers, our systems are interactive. So either they're using a touch screen or a wireless mouse, and they could manually scroll through the reports. And by manually scrolling through the reports, they could use it and pause the presentation to go through the different KPIs. And it's also interactive. So they could go ahead and touch on a particular salesperson and break down their sales. They could touch on a particular vehicle and see all the details of that vehicle. And they could drill down right on the screen itself without going to the desktop. So we have some dealers who have best practices that we're teaching them on. It's the opportunity for them to go ahead and utilize our systems for their sales meetings. And it's been really successful. That would be such a big part of a system like this to me as a manager. You know what I mean? To bring them in and in real time say, these are the real numbers. This is what it is. This is what your gross is, or maybe in the case of fixed ops, this is what your average RO is. This is your customer paid. This is your warranty paid. I mean, you got it all right there in real time. And if there's a problem with that associate or that team, you're not going to know about it, to your point, on a historical basis. You're going to know about it in real, here it is on the 10th of the month. Let's fix this issue.
And then at the same time, if you have a staff member that's saying, oh, it's a slow month, you could see if it really is a slow month, because that would affect everybody. But if it's just that one employee saying it's a slow month and they were 1 and now they're 10, you're like, well, no, it's not. They know competitively why. It's them making excuses, not necessarily a slow month.
You're also going to know how many ups they had. You're going to go hear all the people that you had. What happened to these last 10? You had no buyers in that last 10 group of 10 people? Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
There's an issue there. But you don't know. You can't fix a problem you don't know about, and this brings that up every single day in real time.
Exactly, and I think those dealers that embrace this are going to perform better. And I think that's really where the dealership is. Dealerships have a lot of different widgets and tools. I think this is actually touching the frontline workers. They're making some big decisions as dealers, and I appreciate the decisions that they have to make on a daily business. They're spending dealerships spend anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000 a month to get people to come through their door, normally to buy cars. They do very little spending on the in-store experience and on their staff. And for $500 a month, if you could go ahead and sell an extra couple cars a month, they're already spending $150,000 outside the store.
$500 a month is a bar tab at NADA for most of these dealers. At least, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's how low this is. Maybe the number's too low. Maybe you'd get more attention. You said it's $3,000 a month. Oh, what do you get for $3,000 a month?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a value proposition, right?
What could it be worth?
Or for dealers, tell it's $3,000 a month, then say for you, I'll discount it, because they always like a deal.
It's a better idea. The dealers that are listening, managers that are listening, anybody that's in control of a sales team, management team, I'm telling you, this is an absolute no-brainer for a management team. Digital Dealer Systems. Check them out online if you're not here at the show. If you're here at the show, get over there right now. There's not much time left back in the show, but please do yourself a favor, your dealership a favor, and look into this. Everybody that I've recommended that's purchased this program, or I should say got into this program, has thanked me later, and it's been a life changer for them. I mean, it really has within the dealership. So congratulations on building this and having this available to dealers, because it's a great system. Really.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. It's always good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you, man.
Thank you.